Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be checking out Cowboy beans. I have no idea what that is, but on my plate in front of you right now is beans on toast with a little bit of cheese. I'm going to go ahead and assume that what you're looking at right now is an astonishment. I had this for breakfast this morning, and I'm going to bite into it again. I'm going to give you a real life test of beans on toast. I'm telling you right now, this is nice. If you're sitting there cursing me out right now, which you probably are, I bet you have not tried Heinz beans on toast. So please let me know down below what your honest thoughts on this are. If you want to take a look up close and personal, camera's not going to focus, probably doesn't want to look at it, and that's fine. But either way, before we jump into seeing our boy Cowboy Kent Rollins do his thing, I want you to do your thing. And that is maybe like, maybe subscribe, because remember, YouTube algorithm is now subscriber-based recommendation, so you got to be subscribed if you want to see more videos. Either way, let's jump in.
What was more traditional going down the old trail during the cattle drive days than what?
Yo, can I just say something? I absolutely love this guy's voice, man. There's something about the southern accent that just, I love it. Okay, start again. Sorry, Kent.
Hey, what was more traditional going down the old trail during the cattle drive days than what? A big old pot of beans. But these ain't your ordinary beans, folks. We done jazzed these up, talked to them, and they're gonna be the best beans that you ever eat. So come on, we will be glad to have you.
My guy's about to jazz up some beans, bro. Hey! I've been sitting all day long, body boo bitty saying Kent Rollins, Cowboy cooking.
Hey, thank y'all for stopping by camp, and camp might be in a different spot, and done got one of them drive-bys that we have. We're in Lebanon, Missouri at an annual event, Wagons for Warriors. And folks, this is the largest chuck wagon gathering that I know of in the world, and there'll be around 30 here today, and we're gonna raise money for a great cause, we are.
Hey.
So what are we talking about, and what could be more traditional than
Nice.
when you got a bunch of old wagons gathered around? Old
Food.
wagon food. I'm thinking about something that really goes with it. You know, there was always coffee and there was biscuits, but a thing that was there every meal, I guarantee you, was beans. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. And we're going to go through this little process and show you what I think beans need to be and how they need to be spiced up, talk about the different kinds of beans.
See, I think here's my honest opinion on the whole bean situation, because there's a situation on beans and we gotta bean it out. I think I'm because I just grew up on the one type of bean. It's all I know. It's literally all I know. Kent's about to hit me with some jazzed up beans that have been talked to with spices, and it's gonna probably blow my mind. So the bean I know is the only bean I've ever known. You know what I mean? It's like a first love. You don't want to know about any other beans. You don't want to know about anybody else. Okay? Does that make sense? So maybe whenever I come to the US, I gotta check out some beans.
And the history they played in the part of the trail going down through there to feed them cowboys. What did they eat going down the trail? Oh, they pulled up to Mickey D's and said, hey, I'm at the drive-up window. Folks, none of that ever existed back then, and I think the food was probably better. Now, old Cookie, he had a job to feed cowboys, and back there during the trail drive days, there was not 3 meals a day. There was a very early morning meal and a late night meal. Some of them guys would be trading off in shifts of watching cattle, and some of them eat at this time, some of them gonna eat at midnight. So old Cookie, he had a lot of stuff to keep going. And the thing that he always had on the fire?
Beans.
Coffee and beans. Now, beans was easy for him to take, because remember, there's no refrigeration. We ain't talking about we're gonna have none of this just stuck in an ice chest somewhere. He had all dry goods. Dried coffee, sugar, flour, beans. You gotta have some of them beans. Now, most of the time back during Cookie's days, they were cooking a lot of pinto beans, but also they were cooking a lot of Anasazi beans. And even more than
See, I don't know what any of this is.
Kidney beans. Now, there's little green beans, there's lima beans, there's white navy beans, there's all kind of beans in the world. But a pinto was the go-to bean. Now,
what is your favorite type of bean? I ain't gonna lie, man. I love saying the word bean. I feel like I've heard the word bean more times in the past 2 minutes than I've ever heard in my entire life. Bean.
he'd get them in probably a 50-pound sack, throw them in the wagon there, and he'd just dip out of there with an old coffee can or a pot what he thought they needed.
Beans.
Now, when I'm feeding beans, I use a pound of dried beans to feed 10 people. That'll usually get you by. But folks has always asked me, what kind of beans do you like to use? Well, if I'm buying pinto beans, I really prefer casserole
What
brand.
is a
They've
pinto
always been
bean?
good and clean for me, and you can even buy them at Sam's pre-clean beans, so you ain't got to do what?
Pre-clean
Go
beans.
through here and pick the rocks out, and like this little bean right there, see him, Shin?
What's wrong with him?
He's a little shriveled up bean. He
Oh,
didn't get to make the trip. And you be picking out them rocks if there's any in there. Now,
rocks?
also a very important thing that you got to remember when you're cooking beans is you count them beans all the way till you get to 39, and every 41 you throw it out. That way you ain't gonna have no gas in there. But get your beans. Today we're mixing kidney beans and pinto beans
Kidney
together.
beans,
I got
pinto
a bean
beans.
pot over there, and we're gonna let the water warm. And
I'm
then
excited
we're
to
gonna
see
pour the
this.
beans in. Now we done got them dried, picked, and clean. I left that one out there so y'all could see what we was doing and going on. But go through there.
I have never seen this before in my life, by the way. This is all completely new to me. I've never seen the process of taking whatever they are, those dried beans, and making them nice. I've never seen this before. This whole process is new to me.
There, get them rocks. Grandma said leave the rocks in there. They'll float to the bottom. And if you get them, it's good for your gizzard. So
Good for your what?
traditionally, when I make them,
Your
I'm just
gizzard?
usually most of the time using jalapeno, onion, garlic, cilantro. But back then, old Cookie had a very wide selection of old dried peppers that he took with him on the wagon. I like
going
to use
on?
an ancho or a cascabel or a guajillo chili. They're going to add so much flavor to this. Now remember, our water done warmed. So we're going to go ahead and dump these beans in there.
Fucking
And
love-
hear some
I
of
love
you
the
out
sound
there
of beans,
already
man.
saying,
Is that more?
he probably gonna soak them beans. Folks, I think I'm probably about 2,600 foot elevation. I'm not gonna soak that beans because that old stove standing behind Shan there, known as Bertha, she will reach temperatures unknown to NASA, and she will boil beans in about 2 hours and have them.
Do you know how crazy he is then? And I mean crazy as in crazy smart. My guy's taking elevation into account when cooking. I just about to know how to turn my fucking oven on. My guy's talking about elevation and how it affects the cooking time of said beans. That's wild. Fair play, Kent. You smart man. Couldn't be me.
I'm done like you cooked them all day. But I have had to soak my beans a lot, going in different places
Soaking
where
your
there was
beans?
what? High altitude. Beans cooking at sea level versus 7,000 foot versus 10,000 foot are gonna cook totally different. Now, if you're in them places like that, I like to soak my beans, like put them in an ice chest, get the water good and cold, pour the beans in there, let them soak overnight, but make sure that water stays cold because you don't want them beans to sour. And then you can rinse them, drain them off, go back to starting them at that. But I have also cooked them really slow from like 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night with just a little bitty fire and get them done. But folks, a lot of people soak them beans. I don't see a need in it till you get up there at a very high altitude. So we done got our kidney beans in there.
I know this is a bit off topic and it's not really related to beans in any way at all. Can we get a bit of hype for this man's mustache? Oh my goodness, Ken, that's a fantastic, well preserved, well maintained tash, bro. It's mixing in with the color of the hat. It's great. Hey, fantastic, and it also matches his apron.
Our pinto beans. Now traditionally, old Cookie probably wouldn't have had no ham hock. I do love a ham hock, but he would have probably used salt pork or some old jowls or some old fatty bacon that maybe he had left over there, some side meat. So we're gonna chunk him in there.
What the hell was
Look
that?
what we got here. We
Looks like a
have got us
dog's
some
foot.
Guajillo chilies. And we're gonna break out the, what you call it, Shen? What do you call this? Remember?
Grinder.
Mortar and pestle.
Yeah, but there's another name for it that I can't remember.
masher.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it the masher. So
The
them
masher.
chilies have been
It's a good
roasted
one.
some, and I just want you to just take them and just grind them up a little more. Because when you break these down like that and go ahead and put them in there with them beans, we're gonna get some of that good old rich traditional flavor. And we're gonna get some of that good smoky
Yo,
flavor
these are
that it
gonna be
brings
so
out, too.
nice. I just
And
know they
ain't
are.
gotta be finely ground. I just want them where they're in pretty small pieces because that hot water gonna work a number on them too. So get them in there, a garlic clove, and it is a big one of them elephant ear garlics. And old Cookie had one of these hanging, I'm pretty sure right there, an old hash knife. This is the best chopping device I've ever seen in my life, but I like to mash them garlic.
Okay,
Give 'em a little bit
Ken.
of mash in there. Now I just like to chop this up sort of best you can.
Brilliant.
We're just gonna chunk it right in there. Good to go. Now let's talk about onions.
Okay.
There's white onions, there's yellow onion, there's purple onion. Some people call them a red onion. They've always been purple to me.
They are purple, I agree.
I love a white onion in beans. Now, I've used
Okay.
a Vidalia onion some in beans, but I prefer a good white onion that you're going to put in there. And a lot of people,
I'm
when
not gonna
they get
lie, I
them
would be in
onions
tears
and
right
they're
now doing
gonna
that.
use them, they're going to chop them up in some little bitty pieces.
Does this
So
not fuck
just
anyone
don't make
else's
them
eyes
small
up when
that
you cut,
can't
cut
find them in a
onions, I
pot of
guess?
beans. And I think a white onion holds up really well and really gives some natural flavor. So 2
Get 'em in.
onions is what we're using
Just dump 'em
today
in.
with 4 pounds of beans. And I like to use 2 jalapenos. Now,
Oh, look how well that cuts.
Shan know if it's me, I ain't gonna get the seeds, the stems, nothing out of them. And that's the way it's gonna be today because this is for me and my friends. And we like our food to bite back. Now, if you don't want yours that hot, peel that stem and them seeds
We like our
out
food
there.
to bite back.
You'll be good to go.
Okay.
You won't even know it's got a pepper in it. We got the onions in there. We got the jalapeno. We got the dried chilies in there. And what else do we have in there?
Seasoning.
Do you remember what else we might have snuck in there? Some beans and some garlic.
And
Yeah.
the
folks,
thing,
I love to
the
put
meat.
some cilantro in mine, but not fresh. Now, a lot of people tell me, why don't you use fresh cilantro? To me, it tastes like soap. To a lot of people, it tastes like soap.
I don't think I've ever
Shan
tried
should
it.
be loving it, but not so much me. I love to use dried. So I'm gonna get me probably I'd say nearly 1/4 of a cup for 2 pounds of beans, which is, the wind is blowing. So we're gonna put about that much in there. And I want y'all to meet me at the fire.
I'll meet you with the fire
Ooh,
camp.
look what I got here. I have got the Cadillac of all Berthas.
Bertha is
Me and
firing
Rich and
up.
the good folks at Hasty Baked Grills there in Tulsa have went off the old Bertha pattern and made this one. Some of you might have seen it in our fried onion.
Dude, that thing
videos
must be
come out, the
fucking
Oklahoma
piping.
Fried onion burger. Whew, them things is good. Cookie didn't have one of these. So on some ranches, early 1900s, late 1890s, you might have seen another little wagon hooked to the back end of that one, which was called a pup wagon, and there might have been a little old 2-hole stove in there, and he just dump it out and cook with it. Now, a lot of them didn't have it, but some did. I like this because, folks, I ain't bending over on the ground.
Wait, so back in the day, people used to literally carry around like stoves in the back of these things that were chugged along by horses. The horses must be strong as shit, man. Holy.
And eggs. We designed this just like the original old Bertha. I'm gonna take an eye out of it because Bertha has really, really hot, and then when you take an eye out, it's got, I'm gonna get some kind of that hot. So we're just gonna put this over, and we're just gonna let it begin to simmer, and then we're gonna let it begin to boil. We're gonna give it one little stir right now, and some of you said, wait, ain't seasoned that. Well, folks, I don't like to season my beans till they start cooking pretty good, because if you just put it all in there at one time and keep cooking it, you done boiled most of the flavor out of it. So we're going to stir them up, let them come to a good rolling boil, and I'll meet you back over here at the fire. And
I'll meet you over at the fire.
What else is going in them.
All right.
Well, old Bertha has done her job. We've been on about probably 10 or 12 minutes, and we have got us a good low simmering boil, as you can see in there. And let me pull them up. You can still distinguish between a kidney bean and a pinto bean. And guess what, folks? It is time to season at this point.
Time to season.
Now, we ain't going to season at the first, remember, because you're going to boil some of that away. Now, traditionally, I wouldn't be using like chili powder and all this stuff, but I'm sort of jazzing these up maybe the way old
jazzing them up.
had some, about, I would say, 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika.
Paprika cannot go wrong with some paprika.
1 tablespoon of cumin. If we get it in there for the wind blowing.
What the?
And then we're going to use some of our mesquite seasoning, which has got some ancho chili in it. Now, folks be telling me, is that spicy? No, it's just the right blend to give you a little bit of a touch of heat.
I want to do this, you know.
a lot of that smoky flavor.
This has put me in the mood to do this, guys.
A tablespoon, and then about
I want to make me some beans, bro.
Original. Now, we will season these to our seating at the end to make sure that it's just right.
I trust you, Ken.
And you notice I got me a pot here that has got some water in it that stays hot. So when you add beans to water as they boil...
Add water to beans?
Remember, when you're adding water to beans as they boil, and we want them to come to a boil and just watch them, just let them simmer there, but you need to put hot water back in there when you're adding it, not cold water. Ain't no sense in shocking them little fellers. You got them all hot and warm and toasty in that bathtub. Don't be pouring some cold water on them. Keep you some hot water going. So we got her stirred. We're gonna let them cook till they get, that was hot.
You do what you do your heart's content.
That was hot. We're gonna let them get really good and tender.
I'm burning
I'll show you
myself.
a trick there to last. When you pull that bean up out of there and the skin cracks, we're getting pretty close.
Ooh, hey, here we go. Hey, I'm sitting on a rock by the bay. See what's going on here right now? Like this whole, like everyone getting together and like raising money for obviously a great cause, and like you just don't get that where I'm from, man. This is amazing, and this is like a main reason why I love the US. Such a crazy, easy thing to do and get everyone together and do something nice for, you know, again, like I said, a great cause. This is just so sick. I love it. Can't let me see him.
What I call good beans. Right?
Can I want to see?
Now, set them over, just let them sit. Hey, you're good to go after that 3 hours. Just keep them warm. The longer them beans sit there and you stir them, they're going to be better the next day, and there ain't going to be none left over by the time you get to the next day. Oh, we drip.
Oh my good God. Yo, they look incredible. Bro, look at those. They look like the greatest things I've ever seen. Yeah, you know what? They look better in mine. It almost looks like a soup. Obviously not, you know, it's got beans on there. Holy shit. I want to bite that. Can't I beg? I beg, Ken.
It'll take care of itself.
Please take it time. Ooh, he's just burned the mouth of himself.
That's a wrap. I'm through. Them are fit to eat. We're done.
Oh!
And then we're gonna do the bean move. Oh, yeah, them was so good, them beans was. I mean, that's what's happening.
I'd say you've had enough.
Now, remember, when you're cooking beans, add whatever you want to in there for a meat source, whether it be chorizo, ham hock, salt pork. But if you're using a salt pork, don't salt them beans or don't use so much seasoning because you're going to get a lot of that salt off the salt pork.
Okay.
Remember, everything that we used in this video will be down there in the little description, and the recipe will down there as well. As when you click on that link, it'll take you to it.
This guy is just a breath of fresh air, man, isn't he? I absolutely love his videos, bro. This has been traditional cowboy beans, and let me tell you something. Remember me eating my beans at the start of the video? Yeah, just scrap all that. Forget everything, man. Your beans win. That looked incredible. That spoon, let me say it again. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been me reacting to some traditional cowboy beans. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos. Either way, you have yourself a great day. Enjoy yourself. Goodbye.